They're always trying to like, with the mics, like, they're like, say something in a normal tone. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be whispering. I'm going to be yelling. Nah.
I don't have a normal tone.
I don't.
Hi, it's so nice to meet you. I'm Chrissie, by the way.
Lovely to meet you. I love your shoes, by
Thank
the way.
you so much.
I was staring at them in my last interview.
Michael Kors, and I also have these sneakers that I wear everywhere. Like, they're so good for the plane because they slip on and off.
Oh, yeah, and they're super cute.
And
I like
they're
that.
also I swear to God, for as much as I mention him, he should be giving me
you
a
free
percentage.
shit. Absolutely.
So good for the plane. You can slip them on and off. And their shoes are constantly going on sale. Like, they have on their website maybe like 100 different shoes.
I like what they did because they used to have like pretty expensive stuff, and then it kind of like mainstreamed a little bit, and then people are like, ugh, blah, 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 blah. But like, you can get cute stuff for less money.
Yeah, for years they weren't really.
Coach was the same, I think.
Coach was good, yeah. Like Michael Kors, nobody really thought of them as like somebody to buy like shoes from.
Right.
I want to make sure I'm in the frame. I think I'm in the
frame.
frame.
Come closer to me.
Yeah, I think I'm. No, this is good.
I realize I don't smell good, and that's for the fans later. I'm
fine.
sorry.
Oh,
well, I mean, I go out of I ate roast beef, smoked a bunch of cigarettes.
I mean, you don't smell bad. Yeah.
I try to make sure that people stand like that comfortable distance away.
Yeah.
It's pretty. Yeah, bad breath is really effective.
Okay, cool. So you have an incredible life story.
Thank you.
I was hearing a little bit from Jill and then researching on my own, and then listening to Marcus's interview with you as well. You were a former drug addict.
Yes, I was.
What drugs were you doing?
I liked crystal meth. I got addicted to crystal meth when I was 15, and it wasn't one of those like I partied for a few years and then it started to get. It was like right to the in 3 months I was homeless.
Wow.
And then I stayed homeless until I got clean, like right before my 19th birthday.
So for 4 years, were you just staying like at friends' houses?
No, I was all the way homeless. I slept behind the AAA on Reseda and Plummer in the Valley.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but I mean, meth and me didn't ever get along. So like, there are people. The way I determine like drug addiction personally is like some people can do drugs or drink or whatever, and they're still the same person, just a little like whatever, a little different. And then there's me who like I'm a whole different person. The way I think changes. Everything about me changes. I'm not the same fucking human being. And I'm not very nice. So
you're not good when you're.
I mean, I'm not very nice anyways, but like I'm a lot nicer sober. And so like I burn bridges quickly. I bomb them.
Wow. Well, right, because I imagine you're just like, anything to get money to get this drug.
It wasn't so much that I didn't really fuck too many people over. I didn't steal. I actually didn't really commit too many. I committed crimes, I think, the first 2 years that I did drugs when I was underage. And then when I turned 17, I never committed another crime other than like using drugs because I got weird morals. Which is not conducive to drug addiction. Yeah, no, it really doesn't work well. I wouldn't even jaywalk or litter. And it really was not helpful for trying to get...
Did you have what people would call like a rock bottom or like a come to Jesus moment or something that made you realize like, wow, I have to try and turn my life around?
Rock bottom to me, I always say is like when you stop digging. I hit rock bottom 3 months in, really, and then I stayed there. And when I realized, like, I have some friends who I was homeless with then who are still homeless.
Wow.
And I'm like, where is your bottom? You don't have a bottom. Your bottom is when you stop. I don't know what more you could possibly lose. For me, it was more that, a lot of things happened at once, and it was beautiful. But the main point was that I did something horrible to someone that I loved very much. By horrible, I mean they had like 6 months clean. It was a guy that I used to date, and he lived out in Colorado. And he came down to see me, and I lied and said I was sober too. And then not only, granted, I think he was not young by any means. And not that I think that I make anybody get high, but I literally just sat there and implanted I just poked until he made the decision so that I wouldn't have to feel bad about it. I was like, wow, that was literally the most manipulative, fucked up thing I've ever done. Wow. And he's never gotten clean again, and he's been in prison, I think, since.
That's literally like what every guy who's been like just the tip and then they put their penis like in college.
I literally just sat there and poked and kept bringing in stuff like little things up that I knew would trigger him so that he would make and I was and I ruined his life like again. That was probably his only chance to like get clean, and he was clean for like half a year and like was doing well, and
he could have looked at you and looked at what you were doing and left the room.
I know. I'm not saying that I don't actually think that anybody's responsible for anybody else's actions. But at the time, like, I knew what I did. My part in that was manipulation to get what I wanted.
Because did part of you want him to be like
it wasn't even about him. It was that I wanted to get high. And I was trying to not because he was there. and I wasn't sober, so I just like was like detoxing and like trying to act normal, and like I just wanted to get high.
Wow.
So but I also loved him, so I, the best way I could do that at the time, I guess, was poke. And I felt like such a piece of shit. I got clean, I think, 3 days later.
Sometimes when my boyfriend is sleeping at night, I will gently suffocate him until he stops. So I understand.
Yeah,
I understand the feeling. How did you start creating? And the one question I didn't want to ask everybody is like, how did you get into porn? Because I feel like that's probably the question that everybody asks you that maybe you're sick of
It's quite
answering.
a boring question.
Yeah. So how did you? I guess what turned it? Because you're very. You have so much responsibility for yourself, and you have so much agency, and it's really, because I was hearing your interview with Marcus, and I was like, wow, you're just. I wonder if it's something about going from being homeless to doing really well. It's like, oh, you have to accept responsibility for all your actions.
I mean, I think so. Yeah. I also, I never asked for a handout ever. Even when I was homeless, I never panhandled, I never asked anyone for money. I recycled cans. So I was in the trash all day long, recycling cans to pay for whatever, for drugs, for food, for whatever. And that, I mean, I think that I always had the work ethic, and I think that's why I got off the street. It's very, very, very difficult to go from homeless to not homeless. People don't realize how hard that actually is. When they give a homeless person $1 and they're like, don't buy drugs. What do you think they're going to fucking buy? You didn't change their life. You gave them $1.
Yeah.
They're going to sleep on concrete tonight, and probably they don't want to be as coherent for it. But that being said, like, what I was able to, I mean, that work ethic and the, like, fear of, I mean, probably unrealistic at this point, but the fear of homelessness. And like, I don't want to lose anything that I have. I'm like more petrified than most because I know what it's like to have nothing. And that gives me all the work ethic I need. And so, yeah, I do think that plays a huge role.
Did your parents or your family, did they know that you were?
They knew, yeah.
Did any of them try to?
My mother, I would say both of my parents did what they could, but at some point, how long are you going to keep a terrorist like fuck in your home? I didn't make it easy to love me. I'm not. I do think, looking back on it, I was very young, and maybe people shouldn't have given up as early as they did.
You were so young. You were 15.
Yeah, and
you're a kid still.
Some of it. I mean, all that aside, my parents. I love my mother now. She did. I think both my parents did the best they could with the cards that they had, which wasn't really nearly good enough, but what parenting really is. Everybody tries their hardest, and I'm glad that that people did walk away from me so quickly because it got me clean faster.
Wow. So that was it. It was
nobody enabled me at all.
Getting out of your life that made
you they
realize.
were like, fuck you. And then, you can only sit there with nowhere to turn for so long.
Wow.
And then, being like an underage girl on the street for years, it gets pretty bad. And so with nowhere to go, you pretty much figure it out or like kill yourself. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not really like a life that you can sustain. But to answer your porn question, I did a bunch of labor jobs before I got into porn. And then I had I used to go to what used to be Labor Ready. I don't know what it's called now. People Ready, I think. Whatever. I used to go at 5:30 in the morning in North Hollywood, which was like a 2-hour walk.
Which is crazy because you're not a Mexican man.
Right. Yeah. So I would wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning and walk all the way to fucking North Hollywood and try to get labor jobs for minimum wage.
I really admire that. Yeah, you're like,
I'm so glad I did because I was grateful for it too. It wasn't like, oh God, I made fucking $8 an hour today. Like I was stoked about it. And I felt good about myself. And then I cleaned houses for a bunch of years. Or for a couple of years, and then I got like my first real job, which was like at a tattoo and vape shop. And then the guy I was with at the time owned the shop that I was working at, and he wanted me to make like an Instagram to help market his shop.
Okay.
And then it, like I said, I was so grateful for that job that I wanted to do anything I could to help. So I like looked up how do I market? How do I? So it was actually for something else, or for someone else who had given me an opportunity that I didn't think I deserved at the time. And then my Instagram did very, very well. And then everyone was like, "Do you make a Snapchat?" And I was like, "I don't even know what the fuck that is." And then it was make the premium Snapchat, and then I made the first premium Snapchat show. I made $300 or $3,500 in like 24 hours, and I was like, I've never had that much money in my fucking life. And I was like, okay, I do this now.
You're like, and this is my degree,
right? And then I continued working at the shop obviously for several years because they had given me that chance. But at some point, it was like, wow, literally costing me a lot of money to go to work.
Right.
So
is that where you got most of these tattoos? That first shop?
A lot of them, yeah. A lot of them.
I love it. I love it so much because there's a theme that I heard you say about the porn industry that is very much the same with comedy. I should probably told you that this show, it's on Compound Media. It's called The Wet Spot. It's like a sex dating relationship show, and it's like, I don't know.
It's supposed to be funny. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's definitely funny. I'm
hilarious.
For sure, there are moments.
Laugh at my trials.
There for sure are moments that I bomb, or like I try a new segment, and I have like a sidekick who's just like this like chubby guy who shows his butt kind of a bit. But like what I love, the common theme between comedy and porn is like do whatever you want, but be willing to accept the consequences.
Right. Like Ricky.
Yeah.
Gervais.
Like Ricky Gervais.
He's my man. I love you.
Yeah. I saw his speech too, and I was like so blown away. I was like, oh my God, he's really like saying what needs to be said right now.
Right. And it was funny how the public reacted to it because I saw articles like, "Is this the end of Ricky?" Like,
no.
That
like
public was
dramatic.
like, "Fucking thank God, somebody fucking say it." Holy shit, these people live, and I think people imagine that about us to some extent as well. But like these people live in this fucking made up world where everything comes easy and like, oh God, I had to stay in like a 4-star hotel tonight, and it's like, who the fuck are you to lecture anybody? Yeah. Who the fuck am I to lecture anybody? I kind of give myself a little bit more of a right because of where I came from, but even still, it's like, have I forgotten? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I don't remember how hard it is to be poor.
You seem very grounded. Like it feels like you.
I go way out of my way. I'll sometimes like sleep outside to make sure I remember.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, and people think I'm crazy for that, but it's like it's very important to me. Like when I first started making money, I think the first 3 months I got that like new money big head, but luckily it only lasted 3 months and like 30 pairs of Louboutins.
Oh God! Wow.
Could have bought me like another house, but whatever.
Yeah. Like I have a monthly day ride.
But it terrified me.
Camp out.
Like, right, but I mean, no, like really, I do that, and I still eat spreads, like jail food. I think it's important to remember.
You mean spreads?
It's like a jail commodity. It's like what's it called, ramen, and then like a bunch of.
Have you been to jail?
Technically, no.
I was like, where? Unless they have jail
I mean,
food.
I have. But it was more from I dated a lot of convicts growing up.
They have. I mean, a lot of them are hot, so I get it.
Yeah, and I like that like death around the eyes, like missing teeth thing.
Oh yeah, it's like tell me how you lost those teeth, baby.
Yeah, I love it.
You did tell me about this YouTube video you did about pedophilia that raised a lot of attention.
Yeah, I did a video. I had posted something on Instagram. It was like right when the Michael Jackson stuff was coming out and the whatever his name is, R. Kelly. It was like when all that was coming up. So people were talking about it. And I had posted something pretty vague on Twitter or on Instagram saying that, there's help for both sides. Get help. And then people were furious. They're like, fuck you.
Like you can't acknowledge that this is a real person has these like.
Well, it was like I have a lot of personal experience with that specific subject. Growing up, people in my family, it's like all over. I have like. I wanted to write a book like called "Everyone I Love Is a Pedophile." Really,
you still could. Totally write a book.
I don't want to put the people that I love on blast in that way, but it was like I had so much experience with it. There was like watching the public, like when people are finally talking about a huge issue that everybody likes to pretend doesn't exist. Like what they were coming up with was just infuriating to me.
Wow.
I'm like, is nobody going to mention that like these people should go to fucking therapy?
Yeah.
And, but realistically, like in this country, it's because we have that mandated reporting. A lot of people, and I want to, of course, I want to separate between pedophile and child molester. Like the term pedophile means someone with the attraction. It does not mean that they've hurt anybody.
Acting on it.
Yeah. And when I'm talking, like that video was 2 people who aren't acting on it, or maybe even people who are. If you haven't been caught. Go to fucking I don't care.
Yeah, I
Get
used
help.
to steal a lot, but I was never caught.
Stop hurting people. Yeah. Like my point was not to help. It's not to help pedophiles. It's to help kids. And if like in Germany they started they decriminalized like the thought.
You can have a thought.
Yeah, or you could talk about it. You could get help, and they made like a treatment. They had an inpatient treatment center, and their crime rate against kids went down 70%. And like
Wow.
in this country, everybody, like, we won't help anybody unless they've already ruined somebody's life. And it's like, wow, how many people could possibly like be reached before they make that decision? From what I understand, and from my own experience, a lot of a lot of pedophiles don't want to hurt kids. And it's like, it's
like what they like, and they don't know
eventually
how to,
they act in it. And working in porn, like, I see a lot of what people like. I see the behind the scenes of everybody's sickest, darkest fantasies. Those are the comments I get on my fucking porn videos. I know what people like. And we don't control what we're attracted to. We control what we fucking do. And I want somebody to tell people, if you're attracted to children or you have weird thoughts or fantasies or whatever, that like, you're not an evil person for that. You're an evil person if you do something about it.
Yeah, and if you're not, like,
and you absolutely cannot. And thank you for not.
Yeah.
Thank you for not, for if that's what your attraction is, and you go a whole lifetime never acting on it because it's wrong. My fucking hat's off to you. Thank you. Thank God that what I'm into is not illegal.
Yeah.
Or morally. I mean, I like some pretty morally shady stuff.
Like what?
Like sleep sex.
Ooh.
I like limp bodies.
Really?
Right. So,
Wow.
I mean, granted, like, the limp bodies that I play with are consenting limp bodies.
Yeah.
If they weren't, how is that any better, really? I'm just saying, like, to me, I mean, not to me, children cannot consent, period. So that would be like if I had a limp fetish and you could not consent to, like, you can have sex with me when I fall asleep.
Right.
That just became just as violating.
Wow.
I mean, I'm going to say the child stuff is worse. But I just, I thought it was important to mention, like, while everybody was talking about it, that there's help for both sides. Get fucking help.
Yeah, get therapy.
Yeah, go to, I mean, find some, there are places to help. It's really hard to find. I was trying to find someone that I know, a treatment center or a therapist.
It is hard.
I literally had so many people hang up on me.
Isn't that wild? My own therapist, when I first started seeing her, I started seeing her when my mom got sick, when she first was diagnosed with cancer a couple years ago, and I was like, I went for like some of my relationship problems, so I was like, I need to go to therapy. And I said, because it's weird, like, I wanted her approval. I was like, do you like me? Like, can we keep seeing each other? And she was like, yeah. She's like, the only people I won't work with are pedophiles. And I was like, wow. And then at first I understood it, but now that we're talking about it, I'm like, well then where do they go?
Most people won't, and I get that. And I just wish that, there was, like, more. I mean, I get why it's even hard to find. You know, I literally took me months to find anyone that would see my friend.
Wow.
Or the person that I knew that was looking for help, you know, and that person had never hurt anybody, and it was like they admitted that they had this, like, whatever, this thing that they were into, and trying not to act on it. Like, why don't I want to help? Even if I think that person is a horrible person for having those thoughts, why wouldn't I still want to do everything in my power to make sure they never hurt a child? And I think that that's just weakness of our society, who will refuse to help protect children. To me, that's fucking disgusting, and it's cowardice, because it makes you uncomfortable to think about. Like, man, well, I was uncomfortable getting raped my whole life, you know, as a kid. I wish somebody would have helped those people. Maybe one of them could have gone to therapy and then, like, not ruined my fucking life. You know what I mean? And it's easy, like, to say when you're not involved and when you don't know anyone involved and you don't have children and your children, it's easy to, like, stand on a moral high horse, like, oh, no, kill all pedophiles. There's 320 million of them. Like, you're going to go on the biggest mass murder spree ever to people you can't identify, you big badass. Like, sorry, while nobody's doing that, let's offer some kind of help for the people that want it, at least.
That was great. I can tell that you really care a lot.
A lot. And I get a lot of shit for it. And it's one of those things, like, so don't fucking jerk off to me. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry, I give a fuck about children. Like,
no, it's it's really great. And I think, like, you can use, you know, when you start thinking about, like, what you want, the bigger picture, like your career goals, and you start thinking about, like, oh, what am I passionate about? Like, who do I want to help? Like, that's what's cool. Like, the fact that you did that video, it's like, you take a risk, you do, and that's, like, a lot of what happens in comedy. Like, you take a risk. It's like, it's like, oh, like, there's comics I know, they talk about, they have pedophile jokes all the time, and they'll go into a room and they'll do it, and the room gets silent, and they'll get groans, and it's like, but that doesn't mean stop doing it. It's like, you're raising awareness, and we can't like act like these people don't exist. And
and it's so much bigger than anybody knows. And, like, the more I looked into it, I was like, wow, this is a fucking huge problem. And then that so many of our other problems stem from that, or can stem from that: drug addiction, continuing cycles of abuse. Like, so much of this stuff starts with child sex abuse. Like, it's the fucking one of the biggest problems that we have. Like, show me a whole nation of kids who nobody fucked when they were underage. Like, I bet it would be a whole different world. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like, I think it would be a whole different world. We got a lot of people with a lot of secrets, and a lot of the times I believe that criminals can create criminals, and abuse creates abuse. Yeah, and it's like that we still don't fucking talk about it when, like, I mean, after I got real upset about Epstein, right? The whole thing. Yeah. And I posted about it every fucking day. And like,
he didn't kill himself.
Right, but like that we see that big, and still nobody really cares that much. They care, but in a like, oh God, I don't want to read this other article again. I don't want to hear about it. Like, you should fucking care more. You should definitely care more. That was the spark that we needed to make change in the world, and everybody let it go by.
And even now, it's like not being talked about.
No, people
all that much.
It's become like a punchline, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's.
There should be more done.
Yeah, it makes me want to just dissociate and go live on a farm, because like, but that's what everybody does, is dissociate and go live on a farm and like not do anything, and I'm gonna fucking do something.
Is that so? What does being an anarchist mean to you?
Dissociating and living on a farm. But more so the idea to me that I was saying that in the previous interview that I did about the personal responsibility. Like, relying on a government to tell us what's wrong and right, or religion or whatever, is a little outdated in my opinion, and we should know what's wrong and right, and if we cannot adhere to that, this community at large should be able to end your life. It's
like individual responsibility above the group. It's like,
but I mean, there's both. There's like individual responsibility and community responsibility, and I believe in both. Like, I care about my fucking city, my neighborhood, my town, my country, whatever, to whatever extent. There's personal responsibility, and then like what we owe the community if we want to live in it. And I think especially in LA in 2020, nobody gives a fuck about anybody else.
Wow.
They can't afford to because the rent's too high.
Yeah. They're like, I need to save all my money to buy a new ass.
Right. So I can make my money showing it on Instagram. Yeah. I get it.
I think the next interview person came in, but thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Sorry, this was the least funny comedy interview ever.
Like, you're so interesting to talk to, and if you like have more time throughout the weekend, and like we can, record again or do, chat more, but this was great, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It was so great to meet you.
You too.
Yeah, and if you're ever in New York, do my show. I'm going to take this off you.
Thank you.
Actually, you know what? Is there anything you want to plug, or like appearances, or no? I mean, we're here. This is like, you're here.
Yeah, follow me on Instagram.
Okay.
Twitter's better. I'm more angry on Twitter. Go to Twitter.
Thanks.
Thank you.